Welcome. This is Books According to Gavin. For the first video on this channel, I decided to give my review of The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. I personally found this book really enjoyable, and I thought it had some hard-hitting topics as well. So I figured I would talk about that. A controversy that comes up when talking about The Red Badge of Courage is its accuracy, as the book was published 30 years after the Civil War, and Stephen Crane was never actually a witness to any Civil War battles. Although Stephen Crane was not alive during the Civil War, I still think he did an excellent job depicting the horrors of war in a very anti-war manner, if you will. I would definitely consider The Red Badge of Courage to be a classic, and although it was published in 1895, I find the writing style to be really easy to follow, and I just think each chapter flows together very nicely. Henry, also referred to as the youth throughout the story, is our main character, and at times we see him make questionable decisions, but I feel like that's what makes him a relatable character, because this is his first time doing anything of this nature, and in the beginning of the story, we see him thinking this is going to be a joyful experience. Very early into the book's progression, we see Henry as a character realize that war is not this joyful experience and that he's going to be fighting for his life. I especially find it to be an accessible classic due to its short length. It really is a short story, and the edition I own is 132 pages, which means if you really wanted to, you could read this in a weekend. Which only adds to my reasoning on why I think this is a good entry-level classic. When it comes to my actual rating of The Red Badge of Courage, I think it comes down to a couple of things. I find the plot to be rather engaging. I find the writing style to be very good, but I find that the supporting characters are rather weak in a sense. Not weak as in strength, I mean weak as in we really don't hear much from supporting characters. And I'm not sure why this is. I'm not sure why this was the choice made, but I think that our supporting characters seen throughout the story could hold a stronger role. But that's just me personally, obviously. I also think that, once again, the world building could have been a bit better, but not everything in a book is going to be perfect, obviously. With all this being said, I think I would rate The Red Badge of Courage a 3 out of 5 stars, because although I don't find this to be a perfect book, I find it to be very readable and an enjoyable read at that. And that is my review of The Red Badge of Courage by Stephen Crane. To summarize my feelings on the book, I am a big fan of the writing style used by Stephen Crane, and I also think the character development is really well done. And my only two sort of negatives on the book would be I don't think that the side characters are really used to their full potential in the story. And I also don't think there's a whole ton of world building in certain points in the story. I appreciate your support, and thank you for watching Books According to Gavin.